Welcome to Young and Checklist.
Hi guys, how are you?
Wonderful.
How are you, Christian?
Oops.
Ooh, sexy.
Pinch Poke, you owe me a Coke.
You know, living someone's dream. Living their dream, chilling.
Chilling like a villain.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing okay. I had something I wanted to talk about.
Okay. Spill the tea. Tea time.
So.
Don't forget to lift your pinky.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's fine. No, because I was going to say something about the pinky being lifted, but...
No, do it.
What does that mean?
Okay, so somebody was like, that's bullshit.
Wait, they don't, people don't do it in real life?
Yeah, the pinky lifting is not necessarily a real thing. I honestly think it's a reflex because some people do it and some people don't. And I never was told drinking tea, coming from an Irish family, I was never told drinking tea, you had to raise your pinky up. I do know that there are accounts in history of the reason that people hold goblets and glasses the way they do with one or two fingers because royalty didn't want to, or the upper class as well, didn't want to hold as little as possible of the glass because a servant touched it. So that's why they would hold it.
That's terrible if that's the real
I
history.
would just think
true.
maybe the surface area.
That's
of,
what
the
I thought
teacups
too. It's
or
if
whatever.
I grab my own mug, I can only fit a few fingers. So I've got one for spare. Usually it's the pinky. Not that I'm trying to impress anybody, but that's just how I hold it.
But sometimes when I pick up a glass, I'll just my pinky will just go straight up. My granddad is like that too. He'll just his pinky will go up, and I'm like, is that a genetic thing, or is that
Pavlov's dog conditioning?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Or did I just see it so much? Because sometimes it feels right when you hold the glass. When you hold the mug, it just feels right to have the pinky
Yeah, you
out.
feel like you're fancy.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But also it
Bouginess.
just is wait. But also I've seen my sister and myself in pictures or whatever, I'll have the pinky will be out or up or whatever. So I think it's like a reflex also. I don't know. Haven't looked it up. We have Google. I'll look it up later.
All I know is that when I grab this coffee mug, I can only fit 3 fingers into the handle. So the pinky's out, Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that's reflex or conditioning versus the
Well, you have a man hand.
the man hand. I got fit fingers.
Mm-hmm. You can
So
go
what did we
fingers.
decide we were going to talk about this episode?
So I said
Aaron, it was Aaron's turn. She had the topic.
Aaron's
I had
turn.
something to talk about, but that was
It all
relevant.
pertains.
That
It
was
all
relevant to the
pertains.
moment.
Okay.
I'm being present. I'm being here.
Welcome to the scattered mind of Young and Checklist.
Of course. Always.
So what I wanted to talk about was Matt and I were talking about this earlier. It kind of came up. I was talking about getting back out and dating and going out with people and stuff. And I'm not sure what I'm looking for right now. I'm not sure if I want to be in a relationship with somebody. In my heart, yes, I do. But I'm also not trying to do it with the wrong person. So
Amen.
I'm just enjoying where I am. And there's a few people in the mix, and there was one, and then now they're not, and then there's another one, and they're still kind of there, and then there's another one that's kind of around sometimes. But I don't think that what I'm doing is necessarily there's anything negative about that, but I know that some people have this idea that you should focus on one person, or you should focus on a bunch of people, or you should focus on not anything until the right person comes along, those kind of things. Where do you fall in your thinking?
Where do I fall in my thinking?
Both of you.
Or either of us?
Both of you.
Well, to each their own. Honestly and truly, when it comes to matters of the heart or the groin, it is, take it where it goes. For me personally, I don't know, maybe I'm the wrong person to have this conversation. I want to date and stuff, but also I don't want to date. Dating is a lot of work. Maybe it's a little selfish that I just want to be in a relationship. But I am the kind of person that I guess when I give my heart to them, I give my heart to them. and it's hard for me if it doesn't work out. And so, like, I don't know.
It takes me a while to recover.
Qualified, I guess.
I mean, it takes me a while to recover after I have a breakup, even if it's a short relationship. It takes me a while.
I think I give my heart away too easily.
I mean, yeah, I think I do too. But I also think that's beautiful.
Christian's over here silent and smirking.
But I also think it's beautiful that you can give your heart away so fast.
Oh, is it beautiful or is it toxic? I don't know.
Well, are you exhibiting codependent tendencies?
No.
So
I
there
think
you
when
go.
I was younger, yes, but I've acknowledged those things, you know.
But also, some codependent traits are not bad.
Well,
Codependent gets wrapped into this whole like negative bubble, and not all codependent traits are necessarily.
Give us an
totally,
example of.
Well, at least this is what my old
that's
therapist.
I was about to say.
Well, at least this is what my old therapist said. So, like, wanting to spend a lot of time with somebody is a codependent trait, but that's
Yes.
not necessarily bad.
Well,
But
here's the thing, though. What if it becomes too much? Because you have to be...
I was going to say, if you lean on the other person too
Right.
much, or if you don't have friends, or you don't have other people in your life, and you're putting everything into this one person that you're in a relationship with, that is negative codependent behavior.
That's true. I
Those are simple examples, but
It's hard. It is, like... Because the thing is, when you want to be with someone, then you want to be with them, and it doesn't matter, you know? And, like, I guess
Yeah.
I could be viewed as, like, codependent. But... I think you have got to be, because I think we've been sold this idea that, like, having someone makes your life, like, it gives your life value. But I think I used to be one of those people who thought that, you know, and that's why I wanted to be in a relationship. But now I am very happy being on my own, being with myself, and I want to be to a place where I don't need anybody. And I think when you don't need anybody and you're very self-sufficient, when you get with someone, it's nothing but a bonus, you know? You have to have your time, let them have their time, so that we're not sucking the life out of each other.
Amen. I agree with that 100% because I feel like I am kind of a hybrid when it comes to like being an introvert or an extrovert. I feel like I am an extroverted introvert. Mm-hmm. And so there's just sometimes I'm just like, go away.
I feel like that. I feel like that too.
And I remember like being a kid, and when I was growing up with me, my mom and my sister, my mom would be like, okay, we're not answering the door and we're not answering the phone. And me and my sister being like, what? Like, what if like something bad happens? Like, what if our nanny needs to get a hold of us? And she's like, she has a key. And so I used to think that was like so crazy. And now that I'm like her age, I'm
Your
like,
own life.
I'm not answering the door. I'm not answering my phone. Like, leave me alone. I just need a day to myself to like decompress and, you know, be by myself.
While you guys were saying that, I actually looked up codependency because I want to give you
Webster.
Well, because I want to give you guys some traits, because some of these are ones that you wouldn't necessarily think of as codependent, I think. So, codependency, I won't go through all of these, but
Go through the most important.
one of them, I'm going to just go through some of the short ones. Hypercritical of others' behaviors. They often don't live up to your high expectations. Your high expectations also make it hard for you to ask for or accept help from others. Stressed out or anxious when things don't go exactly and perfectly as planned. Hyper-focused on predictability, structure, and certainty. Things you probably didn't have in your childhood family. That is actually one of mine, and I didn't think of that as being codependent. That's why, like, planning and quality time with the person that I'm dating or involved with is really important to me. Self-critical, unrealistic expectations for yourself. Self-talk is often harsh about your imperfections and mistakes. People pleaser. You're afraid to upset or disappoint others, but this can lead to overextending yourself and exhaustion. That's
Guilty
you.
of that.
Right.
I am so guilty of that.
Boundary issues. You have trouble with speaking up for yourself and saying no.
Okay, we've got to stop this.
Sometimes you allow people to mistreat or take advantage of your kindness because you don't want to hurt their feelings, let them down, or create conflict. Those are, I mean, there's plenty more. Oh my
That's
God.
why, wait, let me just stop you really fast. when you said about overextending yourself and people pleasing, I've had this conversation with myself a lot, and I've realized that is something that I do. And this is what happens. So when you are trying to please so many people, you are overexerting yourself, and then you're also doing the complete opposite of what you intend to do, which is you end up letting some people down.
And you're serving no one.
Because you cannot spread yourself so thin, which is also something I learned from Christian. Again, repeating myself, but you cannot give from a well that's dry.
This is the last one that I will read because this is me. This is really me. You have a hard time separating yourself from other people's feelings, needs, and experiences. Because we've all talked about my terrible relationship history several times, and one of my things is that I always say, well, they must be thinking this, they must be doing this, they had to have done XYZ, and I'm always running their experience and their feelings in my brain and filtering it through me first before I'm like, wait, that made me feel like this, that did this to me, and instead of putting myself first, I always put the other person's feel exactly what this says. I do exactly that.
That's good. Like, I know I was listening to like Will Smith and like Jada Pinkett Smith talk about their relationship, and he said something that so profound. He was like, I cannot give her her worth.
I loved that.
I cannot like make her happy or make her anything. That's her job. And so it's like she is a whole person herself, and I am a whole person myself, and we don't need each other. We want to be wanted. Like, I want you to want me.
Oh, yes.
Right?
But when they say they want to be wanted, do they want just... Their relationship is open, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't think it
look it up.
necessarily is because of that whole situationship that happened.
Because I think that I don't think it was ever it was kind of open, but not really. But I don't think either one of them knew exactly what they were getting into with an open relationship.
Right. They don't talk about like the in and outs of their relationship, and they said that they would
they don't have to. They are entitled to their privacy.
They said from the jump that they would not talk about, even to like their best friends, they don't talk about their relationship because they were like, you don't get the full spectrum. You just get what I'm telling you. So like if Jada's like talking to her girls and Will has done something that she doesn't like, they only hear Jada's perspective. They don't hear Will's. And they don't hear like
there's two sides
like
to every
your
story,
her story, and the truth.
Yep.
Which I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect
that
it too.
I respect that a lot. I actually really I watched that interview as well, or that table talk. I actually really enjoyed it. But I didn't like how some people responded to it and were basically like, why did Will stay? Why did Jada do this? Why did the thing is like, they opened themselves up to criticism, yes, because they're in the public, but that doesn't mean we're deserving of any explanation.
Exactly.
And also, like, the people that are actually in the relationship, no matter how much you think you're owed or how much you think that you need to know because you're just being nosy, the two people in the relationship are the ones who get to dictate what the relationship is.
That's exactly right. I totally agree. And it does, and the thing, too, is, like, when you become a celebrity, like, you open up your life to criticism by people. But the thing is like, why are these people criticizing? Because they know that they are also going through things that they don't want to be publicized.
Don't throw stones at glass houses, baby.
Exactly. You know?
I think it's because, like, when we think of celebrities, we don't think of them as real people. We think of them as, like, a celebrity.
Yeah, and they're there for our
like, we forget
entertainment.
the humanity in it.
Yeah, and that's so hard. Like, it's a hard thing to navigate because these are two people that didn't necessarily want to be celebrities. They wanted to be like actors and artists and be creators. And then you become this celebrity and it changes your world.
But do you become an actor or any type of thing with the hope of fame?
I mean, I can only speak for myself. Being an actor, I never went into it wanting fame, wanting notoriety. I wanted notoriety from my peers. I wanted respect from my peers.
So you ultimately wanted acceptance for who you were.
Yes, for my work and my work ethic and the quality of what I'm producing. And I think that over the years, my idea of that has also changed my relationship with that idea has also changed. Because honestly, like, I thought that I never thought about fame or celebrity, me being one. I just thought, oh, I'm gonna like win some awards because I'm good enough. And that's what I really thought. But I never thought about what comes after. There's a saying in acting, and I don't want to turn this into an acting thing, but there's a saying in acting that it's a joke. It's like, step 1, decide to become an actor. Step 2, step 3, win an Oscar.
There's no step 2?
That's the joke. Oh. Because nobody talks about,
go over my head.
Nobody talks about what the steps are, what the process is, and what actually happens. But even like with step 3, like win an Oscar, there's nothing around it about being a worldwide celebrity. There's nothing in there that says that, right? Because you're not thinking about that. You're not thinking about it.
Right. And I think it's kind of like the same in like relationships. There's like no book on like, this is how you have a successful relationship. And even like people who do create like self-help books and all this kind of stuff, like, depending on what the relationship is, it could be completely different. And like, there's so many different venues and genres of relationships.
You know what our boy Matthew Hussey would say about this?
Yes, who just got engaged.
What?
Yes.
What?
Homeboy is off the market. Mm-hmm.
Wow, congrats to him.
This is going to sound very ignorant, but who is Matthew Hussey?
Matthew Hussey is a British relationship expert / coach, but he's really more of like a self-help.
Got it. I feel like I've heard some things
He's
before.
like a life coach, but he also like specializes in like dating life for women.
I have read his book. I've read How to Get the Guy. I've read that book, and I also have a couple of his programs that he offers.
Did we listen to something together?
I believe we did. I believe we did.
All right, so I'm here. I know who this person is.
And that one thing that I'm working on right now is working, and it's working. At least
did you do the virtual retreat or whatever?
I didn't do the virtual. I'll tell you off air what I have.
I will say the dude knows what he's talking about. I usually like listen to him for like life things, because like
I've done both.
Right, but I feel like I think he knows what he's talking about, and it's like things that it's not like, oh, you have to like do this and like wear this or whatever. It's just like treat yourself with respect. Yeah.
Have you ever, as I don't think, like, to be quite honest, I don't want to say I've had a series of failed relationships. The relationships didn't end, but in some of the moments they were very good. But do you ever reflect on yourself after something has ended and think, you know what? I was too much. I was a little too much for that person, I think. You know, if it had been me, if I'd put myself in their situation or in their shoes. There's been times, like, just recently when I, like, fell head over heels for this person. I came at them hard and fast because, like, my whole world changed when I talked to them. I was just like, oh. Plus, they also said that, like, for the first time in their life, they were attracted to someone's intellect, and that will make you drop your panties. I don't even wear panties. But I mean, literally,
get off my chair.
They would have excused themselves from the room. Just walked right out, you know? But I came at them so hard and so fast, and I think about that a lot. It's like, did I ruin an opportunity because I jumped in too fast? But the catch of that is now I'm not so willing to jump into anything because I think I'm more concerned about, like, getting hurt.
Well, it changes
So
you.
I, like, step at it, like, I approach it, I guess, with a guard up, even though I try to tell myself I don't have a guard up. It's hard. Dating's hard. I'm just going to be single forever. I literally am going to become a nun. And if they have like a little ward that like plays with the animals, that's what I'll do. I'm not much of a gardener.
I am here with you on that because the last person that I was like with, the last two actually. So the first one was with for like a year, and at the end of the relationship, they were like, I wasn't ready to be with somebody like you. I wasn't ready to be with somebody like you, because that was I was like their first real relationship. I was their first, like, a lot of things. and they weren't ready for that. But I wish that I had trusted myself instead of letting myself like fall deeper and deeper and deeper into this relationship. I wish that
It's hard,
I wish that I
though.
had been honest with myself, because I remember, because one of my friends came to me and they were like, Erin, you told me that if this person didn't shape up by January, that you were going to end the relationship. And guess what happened? That person that I was with ended the
Yes.
relationship in January, because I already knew. I already
could
knew in
feel
my heart.
it.
I could feel it from the beginning, and I thought that I was either fooling myself or that they were going to fall in love with me or like whatever. And then all of a sudden it changed, and I was so devastated and depressed for like 6 months. And then I ended up in this situation, this other bad situation, like I didn't date for like a year. And then I got involved with somebody else, and then that was a total nightmare. And then this last person that I was with for a very short period of time, it was much like you, but I didn't like go in like super fast and super hard. I actually feel like I should have like pulled. I didn't go super fast, super hard, but I should have pulled back just a little bit. Like I think that we got intimate too fast, and I'm like used to kind of moving fast just because that's like who I am and how I am. But like they were saying all the things I wanted to hear. They were the one initiating all the steps forward, and so that's why I was going along with it instead of trusting myself again and being like, you told your mom about me? That sounds great, but but let's pull this back a little bit so that we can develop this more.
I will say this, as I tend to be a person who reflects on myself, because like I want to make sure that like I'm doing the best I can to not impact someone for the negative.
Mm-hmm.
As I also extend
That's
that
a
courtesy to
codependent trait, as
myself.
we just learned.
Do what?
That's a codependent trait, as we just learned.
What? Trying to like make a choice?
No, to thinking about the other people, reflecting on the other people.
Right. Oh no. But like because at the root of it all, I'm only in charge and in control of my own actions.
Mm-hmm.
And I've realized that in some of the relationships that I have been in, I have prolonged them for a variety of reasons. Mostly that being whether or not, when I knew it wasn't working out, it's two things, and they're very
Did you dig
selfish.
your heels in harder?
I did.
Me too.
And the reason why, though, is because, well, I either, even though I knew it was not working out, I either didn't want to hurt them, which sounds a little selfish because it's mostly protecting myself, because if I hurt you, I'm going to feel guilty. And then the second one was because that I didn't want to be alone, you know? And so when I would be in these relationships that were not working out, that were actually very toxic, I fought to try and make them work because I had a fear of being alone. And that has completely changed my life. I love to be alone. I don't mind being alone. I mean, in fact, there's a lot less crazy involved in being alone, just my own crazy.
I am the opposite. Of course, I feel like I'm always the opposite of you two. I guess I would consider myself to be a runner. Like anything that causes any friction, it's like cut all ties, we're out of here. Like and so when like in my history of things, I feel like I need like space to like be myself, and I'm more of a cerebral logical person. So a lot of times people will be like, you have no emotions, you're like dead inside, or like you're like ice, like give me more emotions. And I'm like, I do care about you, but like I don't need to cry and fawn over you and be like, oh my gosh, I love you, let me stroke your ego and tell you how pretty you are. Like that's what a dog is for.
Can you believe that the people that I have dated have called me cold?
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Not like cold, like not like a cold personality, but like when it comes to physical things, I can sometimes be very reserved, and I don't like try to reach out and hold hand or like put arm around. Like I wait for them to do all those things. And now like with my last situation, I'm like, should I have done more of that? Should I have done less of that? Should I have done this? I'm still thinking about it months
it's
later.
so tiring though to like think about what you should have done.
I
or what
hate
you
being
could
in my
have
head.
done.
I always feel like in relationship or like in the dating world, like just for me, because like me having like being a woman in the world, I always like, you always hear guys being like, oh, I just want like a chill girl who's
They
like
do
super
not.
chill. No, you don't.
No, they don't.
You want
No,
a
they
crazy
don't. No, they
person.
don't.
Yes, they
like,
do.
Because
Yes.
once you get a chill girl, like a legitimately chill girl who's like, I don't care you going off with your boys, and actually, I insist.
They
I
don't know
need
how
a
to
break
handle
from
it.
you. I love you, but I need to be with my girls. Like, take him. He'll be back.
Yes.
They're like, wait a second. What? Like, I have all this freedom, and they get like really scared. Like, why aren't you crazy? And so I'm like, do I need to pretend to be crazy so that like when I'm chill, you're like, oh my gosh, like she is super chill, but she really cares about me because she's a psycho. Like, what is the happy medium?
I never
like,
understood that. I never understood that. But
I
some
try to be like
people-
a super chill person in like every aspect of my life. And so like what you see is kind of what you get. And so I think literally people love the drama, and you know me, I love me some reality trash, but that's not real life. Mm-mm. And I think that like with like reality and other things that we watch, we think that that's like our emulating life, and it's not. It has like Photoshop and editors and retakes and all this kind of stuff.
Again, I think this, what you're saying kind of goes back to, like, in regards to, kind of goes back to what I said earlier. I think, like, people think that having someone adds value to their life or kind of gives worth to who they are. And so people need to be needed, or they want to be wanted, you know, and that's why everybody's out there dating, trying to find someone who has value in them, you know. It's like, say you and I were dating, Christian, you know, and it's like, oh, I just value, you know what I'm saying? It's like people are out there finding people to give them their own self-worth, and I think that's why dating is kind of hard right now. And I think when you become a very independent person and you have your own self-worth and your own self-value, it's harder to date because you don't need that person.
I'm gonna
You know
add
what
to
I'm
that
saying?
because that's exactly how I feel. Because like I actually thought when I got my shit together, like I'm in my late 30s, I have got my shit together, I've got my life going, I'm living my dream pretty much. I find it harder to date now than when I was a hot fucking mess.
Do you know there's actually like they study that about like women who the more secure they are, the less percentage they have to find like a mate. Like if you have like a college degree, your chances go down. If you have like a master's, doctorates, they go down.
I feel like it goes down as your
Is it
age
because you
goes
become
too.
intimidating?
If because like a lot of
Well, I don't need you.
a lot of guys are like, you don't need them, but that's a terrible way to start a relationship. Like we all need each other, but like you shouldn't be in a relationship because you need that person.
Exactly.
It should be like
An enhancement.
This person
That is, I think, what
complements.
creates a codependent relationship.
Enhancement, accoutrement, and just general improvement.
Charcuterie.
Like, there's a charcuterie. But have you guys heard of this book? It's called Attached.
No.
It's about dating, but not really. It's very like neural. It's from a very like scientific standpoint. You would really like it. They've done, and you would like it too. But it's about they studied 3 different types of people from birth and what their like attachment style turns out to be as they grow up in dating. So there's anxious, secure, and avoidant. Those are the 3.
Anxious, secure, and avoidant. Okay.
And it basically this book basically goes through those 3 attachment styles. So if you're secure, you're basically like, I am secure in my life. Like when I see you, I see you. I like you a lot. And when they're in a relationship, they're like, okay, yeah, like I'm happy being in this relationship. I don't need like to stress about whatever because I'm in a relationship. Anxious people are like, oh my God, why isn't he called? Oh my gosh, why are they doing this? Oh my gosh, I need. You know, like it's exactly like it sounds. And then avoidant are people that have trouble. Like avoidant is like your runner
Christian,
analogy.
Maybe we're all 3.
There's a little test in. There's a little like test in there, and it's it'll tell you what your attachment style is. I took it, and mine is equally secure. Mine's more secure and I had more points in secure, and I had like a handful in anxious, and that's very much so me. But but until I'm in a relationship, I'm an anxious person until when I'm dating, until I'm in the relationship, I'm anxious. Unless I am right now, like I am, my heart is bruised and bleeding.
But I think that just the test, those and our love languages and stuff, I feel like a lot of those have whatever our love language we have, I feel like is what we didn't get as children.
And that's exactly where it comes from. They studied people from being babies to adulthood. You would really like the book. I think you'd really like it, just because of how sciencey you are. But yeah, I don't know.
Well,
that was it. That was all I wanted to talk about.
On that note,
Before we go.
Oh, sorry, Christian.
Do each of you guys know what your love languages are?
Yes.
Okay, Erin, what's yours?
Mine is a combination of quality time and words of affirmation.
Okay.
Physical touch is like the third one for me.
What about you, Matt?
Honestly, I don't know what my love language is. Maybe that's why.
I feel like it would probably be physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you saying I'm a physical person?
Yeah. And
can't
then
argue.
maybe quality time.
With people that you care about, how do you show that you care about them?
I don't know. I guess.
Do you touch people a lot that you care about?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
yeah.
I touch people. I try to do things for them. I think I do all three. I try to give
There's
positive
5 love
affirmation.
languages.
Oh well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What are
But,
the 5?
Physical touch,
I do that.
words of affirmation.
I do that.
Gifts.
I do that too.
Acts of
but
service.
Acts of service.
And
that's the
quality
one.
time.
Acts
time.
of service, I think, is the one
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I probably try to do the
But
most.
you have to remember with love languages, the way you give is not always the way you receive. Mm-hmm. And the way you receive is not always the way you give.
Exactly.
So if you're with somebody who doesn't have a compatible love language, then it's difficult. You have to communicate and come to that understanding.
I think mine is my main one is quality time.
Yeah, that's me.
Because I don't need a lot of time. I feel it's terrible, but I don't need a lot of time, but just the quality in it. And if I feel like I'm being heard, and then I'm chill.
Do you feel like if you're like sitting watching TV with your partner, that is not quality time? Because I don't always feel like that's quality time.
I feel like that's chill, especially if you are you both are watching your show.
Yeah, if you have something together that's different, but I mean just in in general.
But I kind of I think that's the sweet spot in relationships is when you can just sit and do nothing.
I love that.
And just be comfortable and not doing anything. I feel like that is solidifying your relationship. I don't have to put on a show for you for you to love me. I can just be myself and you're still here.
One of the best moments I ever had in a relationship, honestly, was I was dating a magician, and he and I were at his house, and he handed me a book to read because he thought that I would like it. And it was. I still have the book. And I was just sitting on the couch with him. My legs were over his lap, and he was reading a book, but also rubbing my feet at the same time. And we were both reading together, sitting on the couch, doing nothing.
So
it was
intimate.
so intimate. It was so wonderful. It was so great. It was one of my favorite memories from any relationship I've ever been
And
in.
here's why I have relationship problems, because if you were to read a book to me, I would be like,
He was reading his book. I was reading my book.
I don't even care if I saw you reading. I'd be like, we're getting married. And I guess, on that note,
On that note, yeah.
Yeah, nice and quick this week.
it did. It was very quick. I have realized in this conversation I need to really understand my love language.
And I'll give you the recommendation for the other books too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to us. Any last statements from anybody? Christian?
Tinder's trash.
I love that.
I mean, I cannot disagree.
See you next week. Peace
Thanks
out.
Peace
for
out,
coming
bye.
in. Bye.
Welcome to. Thank you for listening to Young and Chuckles.
The views expressed in this podcast are not those.